This one doesn't go down further. You already on?
Yeah, but I added the other.
Okay. Welcome, I'm Professor Priscy Ratcliff. This is El Camino College, and I'm showing the students how to make a pencil skirt. Pencil skirt was designed by Christian Dior. We're not making it long, and we're making the mini pencil skirt. So it's a shorter skirt, dog size, so that students can perfect this one and then make the larger one for themselves. So we have already put the darts in the back of the skirt. The darts are 1/2 inch on each side and 3 inches long. And then here's our mark for our zipper. So we're going to put the zipper in first. All right. We are using a Yuki DDL 8700 power machine. Forward, backwards. Don't forget to do that back stitch. I don't want stuff coming open. Back stitch, and I do the back stitch really well because I don't want the zipper coming open in the back. You notice we sit down in the back a lot, unless your zipper's on the side and you're a Frenchie. You're a French person and you want your zipper on the side. Which it's actually better if the zipper's on the side. That way you don't have to worry about the zipper busting, coming open. We're gonna put all of our threads over here on the side for neatness, okay? And then I'm gonna go ahead and get my darts out of the way. On the darts, you start at the top, the beginning part of the dart, and the dart goes to an angle. Back stitch. And make sure you back stitch at the end so that your darts don't come open. The darts really give you a very nice round derriere. Those of you who purchase added cellulite so that you can have a good derriere, do your darts. Do them a little larger and your hips will look awesome. Okay, now we need to true the darts. We want to make sure that one dart is the same measurement as the other dart. So we put them together like this, and we see that they're the same on both sides, that they're equal. That is super important. You don't want one longer than the other. Now we're going to put our zipper in. So this is the time where you can go to the iron and blank check. Make sure you press it well so that you can put your zipper in. We're going to do a railroad zipper. Your zipper goes backwards. The skirt is backwards. This is the inside of the skirt, right? It's backwards. Yes. So you turn your zipper backwards this way. Okay? Make sure that it's even at the top. Do not cut this Y off. We need it for the waistband. Okay? Now let's say for instance you don't have a zipper foot. Let's say you don't have a zipper foot. I think I have one on the inside of my, and sometimes there's a left one and a right one. This is a medium one. Notice that the anchor is so much smaller than the regular one. There is one where you have the left side of the foot and the right side of the foot. I don't think we have one in here. Just have the small one. But this is the regular size of your zipper foot, and see how small this is. So these are like $3 or $3.50 at your Yuki store. So you can't buy this at Joann's. You have to go to a company that sells the Yuki. Okay, so we took this one off. This one has a guard. We took that one off and we used the mini one. And make sure you shank it tight because you don't want it coming off when you're sewing. Okay? Make sure you put the threads in between the center of the foot, and we are going to start sewing on the side of the zipper. On the side of the zipper, just kind of close. Straight down. Don't overindulge it. Just go straight down, all the way down to the end and back stitch. Okay. Here we go. Feel a little tug, so I don't know if I'm at the end of my thread or not. Let's see. No, got plenty on. Sometimes when you're pulling your thread, will go, but you need a bobbin and a bobbin case to put your thread in. Hold up, turn it around and let it hang through there. Hang freely and put it back in. Turn your wheel all the way down and up so that your bobbin thread can come up from the bobbin. Turn it to the back. Cut your threads off so that they don't get mixed in with the other ones. Now if you look, you'll see my line. I backstitched at the beginning, I backstitched at the end. Okay? I zip it up and you see that it is perfect on one side. Okay? So you gotta unzip it to sew it. All right, we're going to unzip it again so that we can get it on the other side. And this is how I'm turning it, so that I can do the other side. Exactly what you do for one side, you do for the other side. Okay, all right. And I start at the top. You were like, why do you stop at the top? Because sometimes fabric moves. And I want to make sure that these two connect. Okay? Put it on there. Take it closer to the shank as possible. Now when I get down to the end, I'm going to raise it up and zip my zipper, because this is a pretty fat piece, and if you wait till the bottom, it'll get caught on the inside. Back stitch, that is it. Simple zipper one-on-one. It is in. Took me less than 2 minutes to put the zipper in. Do it that way and it'll take you less than 2 minutes to put it in as well. Okay, so now we're going to open it up, zip down, zip up. I see a lot of people putting top stitches on their zipper. That looks so tacky, very tacky. When you sew your waistband on, we're just going to do it like that and it disappears. Okay, that way when you sit down, you got room to open and your zipper won't bust. Okay, that's just my perspective one-on-one. But I don't like to see the top stitch because most people don't sew it straight. And so then it looks crooked and they go, oh, your dress is beautiful. Oh, and then they see the zipper. Did you make that? Okay, so no top on the top of the zipper. So we got the back correct. And now we're going to do the front. You don't want your things to look homemade. And especially if you have beautiful fabrics. Because then people will go, oh, I want you to make one of those for me. And then they see that zipper and they're like, on second thought, were you in a hurry when you did that? So let's do those zippers perfection. Brissa has some beautiful African fabric that has like 9 different colors in it. And you know, you can put the zipper in there where it shows invisible and people can't see the actual stud of the zipper. All right. Now we've done both of our darts. We're going to make sure that our darts are trued. So here are our darts. And if you look, we're going to make sure to cross them over to make sure that they're even. And they are on both sides. And so I want to show you this bellow here. So see how that kind of protrudes out? That's what darts do to the posterior. You see the inside kind of gives you a nice little derriere in the back. So be sure to put the darts in. Okay, so right sides go together. This is the right side. This is the right side where the zipper is. We're going to put these together. And then we're going to sew enough so that we can have that seam allowance on the edge. Okay? I'm going to curve it in a little. Back stitch. You cut it off, just cut it off at the end because you don't have time to be going back cutting threads. Okay, so now I have a nice seam allowance right here, and I'm going to double fold it so that I don't have any fraying. Nothing's worse than somebody's putting on an outfit and they have all these threads fraying on the bottom. Just make it 1/8 of an inch over. Some people say, you can serge it, tacky. You can also, to make it look nice, put seam bias tape on it. Have your seam bias tapes like purple and polka dots and all of that, and it looks really nice for finishing. So those of you students that want to put a bias tape around instead for your finishing seams, instead of doing your double fold, I'll allow you to do that for extra points. So we have one side. This is the salvage edge of the fabric. We definitely don't want the salvage edge to show. I don't know why this is kind of pulling a little bit. We'll fold it. If somebody had some bias tape, I could show you how to put the bias tape on. If somebody has some and they want to bring it that way, I could show you how to do it. Otherwise, I'll keep rolling. Notice how I'm taking my fingernail and tucking this under. Don't have to have any pins. You don't have to iron it. Just tuck it under. Save yourself some time. And now I have a perfect seam finish. That's on the inside. That would look very well. And once you start sewing like this, students, people will love you. You could always get extra clients because they know that your work is perfection and it doesn't look homemade. Make sure that both of these fabric seams are together. So make sure, I don't know if you guys saw me do that technique, how I was sewing back and forth. When you do that, the thread doesn't crumble underneath. That'll save you time with that technique. What you did on one side, you do on the other side. Nobody brought me any bias tape, so I'm just going to continue to sew this. You're like, what is that? You don't know what bias tape is. You purchased Dolce & Gabbana. All of the inside of their seams have different multicolored bias tape. That is why they are so expensive. They don't use overlock. That is like a sin in the couture fashion world. They don't use overlock. Oh, we do have some bias tape. Thank you, John. One of my top students over there. He has everything in his sewing kit. Okay, and look how much thread we have over here. You guys don't think that matters, but it does. So what are we going to do with this? We can't leave it like this, so let's do some bias tape. Extra wide bias tape. It makes the clothes look really good. This is a plum. Since I am going to see Barbie today, pink would be nice. But we're using purple. And so how do we sew this bias tape on? So I'm going to go from the top to the bottom. This is going to look really good, y'all. You're going to say, do we have to do that? No. But if you're planning to make sewing a profession, you better start out now. Because I'm telling you, there is, you know, get 150 for a skirt. Because people like what I do on the inside of the skirt. So let's see what we need to do. No, it's a little longer. But if you notice in the bias tape how it's closed like a sandwich. You got the 1/4 of an inch over here and a 1/4 of an inch over here. So that's what you have that extra inch for, so that you can use that for bias tape. That way when a client gains weight, you have fabric on the inside to cut it off. So we're going to sew right on this folded line. Okay? So right down in the center. You know, don't tweak it. Make your life easy. We're going to sew it on the end. Right on there. Back stitch. And the only reason why I didn't do it on the other side is because I didn't want it to look crazy. So that's why I'm putting it on the zipper. Okay, so this is one side. It's almost just like the zipper. Okay, now we have another fold here. Fold it right over. Tuck it right under. And sew. So since it's even, we're going to sew on this line. So if you could sew on this line here, because all of this is on the inside. See that? Makes it look so much better. Make sure that your other seam on the other side is, you haven't sewn it. And of course we would use the correct thread color. But you see how one side is your bias tape. And we're going to do the other side the same way. The only reason why we're not using the right color is so that I can see the students' seams, whether they're straight and even. So that's why they're using a different color tape, so that I can see their seams. Different color thread, I'm sorry. The bigger bias tape is very nice. And people like to look on the inside and see color. When you see color in the morning, it really makes you feel wonderful. See how I folded that over like a little sandwich, like a sausage? See, here's the raw edge. Put it on the inside, fold it over. Don't overlock the seams. People are going to pay. They were like, oh, can I get a discount? Macy's don't have this. And I said, honey, go to a Dolce & Gabbana store and you will see this trimming. And I'm not charging you $5,000. You're going to really get a deal. Only $150. And that's in 3 numbers, not 1 decimal point. Okay. And look how that zipper looks. Look at that. Very nice. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and finish this side, because remember when John brought over the bias tape, I just got super happy and I didn't finish this side. So double fold it over. People don't want to see that fraying from the cotton fabrics. They don't want to see any pinking shears. It looks so homemade. Even though you're at home sewing, you want them to think that it came out of a professional Italy. You know what I'm saying? You want it to look very nice. You want your client to be pleased, and you have to educate them to know them why you paying $150, so we can let this seam out if you gain some weight when you go over on that cruise on Carnival and you have gained that weight. It is so cute. Okay, so while we're here, I'm just going to go ahead and hem it. I want the railroad tracks open. Okay, don't close them like this and all bunched up when you sewing. Don't make me say a bad word. Okay, fold over once, fold over twice. And if you do it on this side, here's our back. Look how that's kind of sticking out. I need to true it, cut it off. Then make sure my seams are open. Double fold this. Put my pin here, or you can also, and look here, how that's imbalanced. There's a dip right here, so I need to true this off so that my ends are even. Okay, let's see if there's a dip over here. It's not. All right. So, and you can base this if you want. You can press it for perfection. Use your gauge. A gauge is a small ruler, and it's only like 7 inches long, to make sure that you've done your inches. Thank you so much. And here's my little rod, which is pink like Barbie. Okay, so we're going to make sure that this is 1/2 inch all the way around, and it is. We're going to check it before we sew it. So if you turn it this way all the way around, that's kind of like your pressing point. Okay, lay it down. Do this so that you won't have buckling, like when you get to the end and then it buckles like that. Tacky. Straighten it out and make sure that you have that crease. Okay, my 1/2 inch, my 1/2 inch, my 1/2 inch. So I'm good. Okay, I'm sewing on the edge of night. Edge, not in the middle and not down at the bottom. That is so important, to sew on the edge. Okay, make sure that the outfit isn't underneath, that you're not sewing on this. Put your machine over there, and I'm shanking on the edge. Don't sew over any pins. You will throw your machine out of line. And notice our metal is way up here. That's a good thing. We could have cut the zipper off, but I don't like to cut the zippers off because you don't want to leave any room for them coming loose. Now, everything that you've learned up to this point is showing you from page 1 all the way. You are applying it to this skirt. Get to the end. I'm just going to cut this thread off, because if the thread gets caught underneath, then you got to kind of rethread your own thread. Now, instead of back stitching, I'm going to go right across the same seam that was already there, because I don't like to see the back stitch. So watch me come right straight across, and then I don't have to back stitch. So the skirt is finished. You may say, do I want to put another? You can put another seam at the bottom if you like. However, if you're making a skirt for a person, you're going to use the tape, and you're going to put it on the bottom, bring it up, and hand stitch. That's what we're going to learn for the back. But see how this looks very neat? Very neat. And now we're going to add our waistband. I'm going to turn it to the right side. See how you have your little protruding right here? Looks very nice. Now we're going to add the waistband. So at the ends, and I usually do about 2 inches so that it could be inside the waistband for my waistband to stand up. Normally you would put interfacing inside the waistband so that your waistband can stand up very neat. Back stitch it the same way. And then let me see how wide I want to do this. I'm measuring the waistband to see if mine is running a little bit longer. It is very long, so I want a little piece to go over here, so I'm going to cut it here. And I'm going to do the inside the same. Don't cut your waistband where it's too short, because if people gain weight, you'll have room on the inside to let it out. All right. So now I'm putting my finger here. Actually, I think I'll bring it a little closer. I think this one was a little long. You want your waistband longer. People want their waist let out and you didn't put enough material on the inside, then you're going to have to find that material and make another waistband. Darts you can let out. Okay? So I'm putting my finger here in this corner. Turn it. So tired of pulling all of y'all stuff out where it's not a square. We need a square. Okay? Use it with your thumb. So those of you who like long nails, just make sure your thumbnail is long. That way, when you push it in here, it'll come right out. Because sometimes when you use the pins to stick them out, it frays. All right. Now we're going to fold this. Make sure that it's even. This is our waistband. This is what the waistband looks like. Corner, corner. Okay? Now we're going to pin it on here. All right. So remember when I told you to fold over a little bit? Like now you can see the zipper. Fold it over so that you can't see the zipper. Okay? And then you're going to leave a little overage right here, because if you decide to put a button and buttonhole, you need that little room to go over. If you decide to put a hook and eye, you want that room over. So look, this is flat, and your darts go to the center. So move that dart to the center. We're only doing 1/2 inch. Open the seam allowance so that it's open. So you're going to base these open so that you can sew them real quick. All right, here's the center dart. Make sure that it's in the center, that it's pointing toward the navel. Okay. And then here's the other one on the other side. Point it toward the navel. When people are sewing and they'll try, when it's time for them to pay, they will try to nitpick you. Make sure your stuff is going the right way, because time is money. And if I'm putting all this extra energy into making your clothes fabulous so that they can last 20 and 30 years, you're going to pay me every cent and you're going to tip me. Don't you want to be my client? Because my craftsmanship is perfected and I love what I do. So don't try to discount me. Know what I'm saying? You guys are in school every day during the summer when you can be surfing or riding horses, you know, going to the movies to see Barbie. So, you know, you're learning your craft. So you're worth the higher. You're worth what they pay you. All right? So we're going down to where this little clip, or what do you call it, staple, is on the zipper. But don't sew the staple. You want to go at least a half an inch above the staple. So look how much room we got. We got half an inch. Don't sew that staple. You want it on there so your zipper does not come off. And then sew it the way you have it pinned. Open those seams. Notice how my pins are right here, and I'm taking my pins off, and look at my finger. I'm laying my finger down so that the fabric is held down to go the right way that I want it to go. I'm handling this. I'm handling this Lamborghini. I'm running the wheel. It's not running me. So you got to learn how to push that pedal, get on and get off of it so that your stuff ain't going crooked. You're the master. You run that man. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Don't let it run you. Got me? So don't over push that presser foot. Lay down, use that finger and lay down your fabric so that it's not buckled up and you don't have twists on the top of it. I should say control that person instead of doing a gender. My apologies. All right. Control whatever. Could be a dog or a cat. Don't let it run you. Okay. Now I'm going to lay down. Be sure to lay down your bias tape because you want it going the same way. And now I'm coming up on the end and I should still be half an inch. Okay. All right, I'm done. Now I'm going to show you how to fold over your seams. Okay, so remember this is in here. We want this here because we got to put that hook and eye on there. And we want to have something to sew the hook and eye on. I have no threads to cut off. Believe it or not, the biggest mistake students that are in designing make, they wait till the end to take all the ravels off, all the threads off, and then what happens is you're cutting and you end up cutting your outfit. And y'all are hollering and screaming on the floor. So don't do that. Okay, so how do we make this end right here? How do we sew that down? I see some people that want to, students want to hand sew that. Tacky. How do you sew this down? Machine. Okay, so what we're going to do is make sure that we have a, press that so that we'll have a crease. Okay, same side, this one is already at the end, so it's perfect. Okay, so all I have to do is turn that under. Make sure, here's my seam. I don't want to see that when I turn it to the inside. So make sure that that's folded over 1/8 of an inch so that we don't see that. Got me? Mm-hmm. See that, Steve? When we get ready to turn it over, I don't want that sewing line to show. So I cover it at least 1/8 of an inch so that it's not showing. Okay? So, continue. Because what we're going to do is, we're not going to sew it from the front. From the back, we're going to sew it from the front. So now, I want to sew this down. We already have our leg, and this thread is black, so make sure this thread is not on the inside because we don't want to see that. So here's my line, and I'm going to sew this straight across. To meet, here's my seam, I'm going to sew it straight across. Okay? Straight across. So that when I turn it, it looks nice. Now you could cut the corner, but I want the corner to stand up straight when I put the button or the hook in the eye on there. So this is kind of, remember how you flipped your material? Sometimes you might have to bleed it like this. Oh no, I may take it out. I may have to cut that corner, because I made it a little long. Just a little angle. Okay, flatten it up in there. Some people do it as a, they do the corner as a arrow, but now we have a perfect one, and we need to check the other side. We shortened it a little, bring it out so that both sides meet. You want both sides to meet. If both sides don't meet this way, then we tuck it underneath this way and do it. Okay? So now we're going to finish pinning this. Remember tucking it, and that's why we do the waistband a little longer, so that we can tuck it under. That one's bent, and I keep picking it up. If you have a label, like Brissa has a label to go in her clothes, your label goes to the back. So you would slide your label right here. And when you order your labels, make sure that they're kind of polyester, because if you have people that have sensitive skin, like me, and the label scratches you in the back, or if you're making for children and it scratches the back of kids, they won't want to wear your outfits. Okay. See how this is kind of bunching up a little right here? We got to make sure that it's flat. Okay? So that's how we pin it on the inside. It's longer so that I don't see that black line. I'm just going to sew this right on top. So where my seam is going to go is underneath here. Underneath. So you're going to open it up so that you can sew right on that line. Okay. And because I'm using black thread, well, see, don't sew that zipper. Make sure you come across a little more. I'm going to sew right inside the seam. Okay? Make sure that you baste it, or either you're going to have to keep looking underneath to make sure that you don't sew a pin. And this is a real understitch because it's underneath. Open it up. Some of your clothes, you're going to see that they just turn both the seams up and overlock it. Tacky. So what's going to be the difference between your stitch and why are they paying you $150 for a skirt when they can go to Ross and buy the Ross sale? What's going to distinguish you? First of all, when you wash it, it's gone. And dry cleaners are closing because of COVID and because of the chemicals that are in the dry cleaning. So now remember, the color also will be the same color of your your actual fabric. So you won't be able to see the line. I just want to make sure you put it underneath. And so here's our skirt. Got a little puckering right here. Let me take this out. So little. And we having no puckering. Okay, so we can put it going this way, even though you see the zipper a little that way. So do it this way, and you're good. Okay. So here's our skirt. When we press it, this is our mini pencil skirt. And Christian Dior did not design this, Priscy did. And I'm going to turn it inside out for you so that you can see that it looks just as good on the inside as it does on the outside. Okay, pencil skirt designed by Christian Dior. Sewn and craft by Professor Priscy Ratcliff, Camino College. Peace.